guys. Sorry if this video is lopsided. I can't figure out how to get my camera straight, so if it is, I'm really sorry about that. Welcome back. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. So it's time for my January reading wrap up, and I read 8 books, and then I'm gonna do one honorable mention for a book that I read in December. This was a really good reading month for me. I think this is the most that I've ever read in a month, and it was totally due to audiobooks. I've really been on my audiobook game, and I really liked the books for the most part, so that was really cool. Okay, so the first book that I listened to was Survive the Night by Riley Sager, and I've read quite a few of his books before, and I just really like him. His books are always like fast-paced, page-turners, and I just wanted a easy, fast-paced thriller that I could listen to, so that's exactly what this was. This book is about a 20-year-old college student named Charlie, and she needs a ride home from college. We find out she's leaving college, but we're not totally sure why yet. So she goes to this ride posting board at her school, and it's set in the 90s, so that's why it's not on Facebook or anything. And basically this man named Josh comes up to her and offers her a ride, and he tells her that he's going in the same direction and that they can leave that night at 9 p.m. So Charlie's best friend Maddie went to college with her and was murdered. So Charlie's grieving over her friend's death, and the person that murdered Maddie has still not been caught yet. So the killer is still on the loose, and everyone's kind of on edge about that. So the story takes place over one night, which is really cool. And as Josh and Charlie are in the car, Charlie starts becoming skeptical of him, and that's all I'm gonna say because I don't want to give anything away, but there were a bunch of twists. It was super addicting to listen to, which was great. The audiobook was good. I gave it 3.5 stars because it wasn't the best thing ever, but it was entertaining. Then I read Heart the Lover by Lily King, and this one is super popular right now. I keep seeing it all over social media. And if you've read Riders and Lovers by Lily King, it's the prequel to that, which I didn't know when I was reading it until after when I looked it up on social media. But you don't have to have read Riders and Lovers to read Heart the Lover. So this book is really interesting. You actually don't find out the main character's first name until the end of the book. I think it's kind of supposed to be a reveal, but because I hadn't read Riders and Lovers in years and don't remember anything about it, I didn't realize when they dropped her first name who she was. So I think it's good to just tell people that it's a prequel to that. So this book is split into 3 parts. The first part is the main character when she's in college and she befriends these 2 guys. And these 2 guys are very intellectual and have a really close relationship with their professor, so much so that they're house sitting and living at his house. So that part is kind of about the main character's experience in college and her relationship to them and intellectualism. She compares herself to them a lot and doesn't feel smart because she's not in the honors program like they are. And there's definitely a huge romance aspect throughout this whole book. Then the second part is when the main character is in her 20s, I think. And the last part is after she's married and has kids. But yeah, I wouldn't say that this is a romance book because it doesn't have a normal romance trope, but it's a literary fiction book with a huge romance plot in it. And it's beautifully written. It's really, really sad, and it just makes you ask a lot of questions about morality and forgiveness. It really made me question at what point would I forgive someone for doing something so horrible. But I wasn't as obsessed with this as everyone else seems to be, so I gave it 4 stars. This book is pretty short, which is nice. I listened to it on audiobook and it was 5 hours, but honestly, I think it could have been longer. I really like how Lily King wrote the main character. I thought her insecurities were super relatable. So I'm not shouting this book from the rooftops, but if you want to feel something, I would recommend it. Then I listened to Girls Can Kiss Now by Jill Gutowitz, and this is an essay collection. And Jill Gutowitz is an author that mainly writes blog posts for Variety. She's mainly an online pop culture writer. And this book essentially is about lesbian visibility in media throughout the author's whole life. So she was born in the early 90s, so the early 90s until now, and then it's mixed with other more personal essays about her personal identity and relationships and coming out. I gave it 3 stars because I really liked some of the essays and then I didn't like some of the essays. It kind of feels like hanging out with your pop culture obsessed, chronically online lesbian bestie. And I think after reading this book, I realized that I don't like reading about social media because all I see all day is social media and discussions about social media, and I think what I'm reading, I just want an escape from that. And this author talked a lot about Taylor Swift and her relationship with Karlie Kloss. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I don't want to say it was cringe. Some of the essays were like a little cringe. Not even in a bad way, but in like a, we've talked about this as a society so much, like we don't need to talk about it again. But her personal essays I really liked. But if you are interested in that and you want to read about lesbian visibility in pop culture, then I would recommend it. Then I read Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howarth, and this was easy 5 stars. This is my favorite book I've read this year. I added it to my favorite books of all time. It moved me in such a way that I cannot even describe. And it's so funny because I saw this book on TikTok and I saw mixed reviews, so like I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it or not, and it made me genuinely upset, but like in a good way. So this book is by an Irish author, which we love. The Irish really know how to write, and it's about this teenage girl named Lucy who lives in a really small town in Ireland, and her family's super Catholic. And I think the book starts out where she's like a junior, so I don't know what they call them there, if it's like junior, senior, I'm just gonna say that, but she's like in her second to last year, and then it's like the summer, and then her senior year, and then a few years after high school as well. So she's already dealing with what she's gonna do after school, if she's gonna go to college or just work. She's not super academic, and she has this neighbor named Martin who has a huge crush on her, and they always spend time together, but she just like doesn't have feelings for him, but the whole town thinks that they're gonna get married. But she has feelings for her best friend Susanna, which are reciprocated. So it's a beautiful and devastating romance book about 2 girls who can't be together because of how homophobic the town is. But the writing was so amazing. I'm like obsessed with that author now. She just described really mundane things in such detail that it felt like you were there with them, like the settings, habits that the characters did, how the characters looked. It was so gorgeous. I literally made a Pinterest board. I'll link it below. I made a Pinterest board for this book because it was like so descriptive and beautiful, and I just wanted to visually see it. But because the main character is so Catholic, you can really see that in the way that she views herself in her relationship. And it's so sad, but I think could be really relatable to some people. It's just like peak sapphic yearning, and if you're into that, I would highly recommend. I also listened to that one on audiobook and listened to the Toni O'Rourke recording of it because she was incredible. She was like the best audiobook reader I've ever listened to, and I genuinely think that like elevated the experience for me. But I do want to buy the hard copy of it because I want to like see how gorgeous the writing is in person. Then I finished Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, and I started this like at the end of November, and I just finished it like this past week because the writing was like so different than anything I was used to. It was very science heavy, so I think it took me a long time for my brain to like adjust to that, but the book was so good, heartwarming, cute, just like genuinely such a good story. And it is being adapted into a movie with Ryan Gosling. I think it comes out in March, so I wanted to read it before, and I'm so happy I did. So this book is about a man who wakes up on a spaceship. He doesn't know why he's there, he doesn't know who he is, he doesn't know his name, he doesn't remember anything, and as the book goes on, he starts kind of remembering why he's there and about himself. So it's like a dual timeline between what's happening now and then memories from the past. Basically, he finds out what his mission is and he has to save the world, and that's all I'm gonna say because I think this book is so good because you don't know anything at the beginning. But the trailer does have a huge spoiler, so if you haven't read the book yet or seen the trailer, just read the book and then watch the trailer after you finish the book. But I get why this book is so hyped up, and apparently the movie's really good, so I'm super excited to see the movie. Then I read Paradise Rot by Jenny Hval. Sorry, I don't know how to say her last name. Apparently she's a musician, and I've never heard of her, and it seems like I'm the only person that has never heard of her because I looked up book reviews after I finished this on TikTok, and everyone was like, oh my god, she wrote a book? But I don't know who she is. But I picked this up just because I heard it was really weird and like beautifully written, and the premise really interested me. So this is a really short book. It's about this Norwegian student named Jo who's starting university in the UK, and she's studying biology, and she moves into this apartment that was an old brewery, and it was like kind of converted into an apartment with this girl named Carol. but it's barely converted. Like there aren't walls, there are just boards that are put up so they can hear each other's every movement. And these two girls develop a really codependent, weird, like symbiotic relationship. And a lot of what the main character is studying in biology actually is important to the story. And the title sounds like Paradise Lost for a reason. It's definitely some kind of like Adam and Eve retelling. That's like a huge theme in it. And the whole thing was just like so weird and you didn't really know what was going on. There are really visceral descriptions of rotting fruit, which is actually really important in the story. And a lot of pee, which is weird, but the book's weird. I gave it 3.5 stars because I would recommend this if you're really into writing and you like weird girl fiction and like seeing how gross things are written, then I would recommend it. But if you're like a casual reader who just wants entertainment, I would not recommend this one because it's definitely not for everyone. Then I listened to Comfort Me with Apples by Catherine M. Valente? Sorry, I do not know how to say her last name. This one is also really short. It's like a thriller horror book, I think. I listened to it and I don't know, I liked the audiobook because the actor was really good at like different characters' voices, but I think she spoke too quickly where I like missed things, so I kind of wish that I had just read this one. But this is starting out with our main character named Sophia. It's like a day in her life, and I don't want to give too much away, but it just seems really weird. Like I think on the first page she's thinking like I was made for him, so it's like kind of obvious what the book is. I was like, oh, this is like a companion slash Stepford Wives slash Don't Worry Darling type book. But if you liked all those movies, then I would recommend it, but I don't think it's like anything new. But it definitely felt like a fever dream because it was just so weird and like kind of eerie and spooky. Like I got kind of scared because I was like, what kind of world are we in? But I think I gave it like 3 stars because it was fun, but there definitely could have been more. It's super short and it could have been more developed. Like I wanted more from it, but it was honestly just like weird and kind of entertaining. This also was like an Adam and Eve retelling, which is super weird that I read 2 in a row, but the writing was good. It definitely spooked me. Okay, then I listened to I Who Have Never Known Men, and I had really high expectations for this one because I keep seeing like 5-star videos about it on TikTok, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit disappointed. It's basically about these 40 women who live in a bunker and they don't know how they got there. They don't know why they're there. There are guards guarding them, but the guards won't speak to them or tell them what's going on. Our main character is the youngest one in the bunker, so she was put there when she was a baby, so she does not remember what normal life was like, but the rest of the women do. And then one day they're able to escape the bunker, and it's kind of about the main character like learning about life. And this one also felt like a fever dream because you're so confused and just want to know what's happening the whole time, and it was really eerie and like definitely spooked me. And I just have some gripes with it, but like I can't say that in this video without spoiling it, but I just didn't think that it made any sense. And like I didn't like where the book went. I wish it gave us more. It's definitely more a character study than like a sci-fi or dystopian book. Like it's labeled as dystopian, but I don't think you can really do that without any world building. So that part let me down. But a lot of people like the like character aspect of it because it's basically about how women build a society when they have nothing and literally everything is stripped away, and how they care for each other. But yeah, I gave it 2 stars because I just felt like a lot was missing from it, and I just did not get the hype personally. Okay, so my honorable mention is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. I finished this in December, but I didn't read enough books last year to like do a wrap-up video, so I'm just putting it in this one. And this is like a classic murder mystery whodunit set on a college campus, which was so fun to read about. So it's about this group of friends who are coming back to college for their 10-year reunion, but it's a dual timeline between when they were in college and at the reunion. And one of the girls in the friend group, Heather, was murdered, but the killer has not been found. No one was convicted. They all think that a particular person in their friend group did it, but there was never enough evidence to convict him. And it basically felt like a giant college gossip slash tea session, which was just like so entertaining because as the book goes on, you find out more and more about each character because they're trying to figure out who killed Heather. And this had very messy, unlikable characters, so if you don't like an unlikable narrator, then don't read this. But I unlikable main characters, so I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was so entertaining and well written, and I really liked learning about each character. And I just love murder mysteries. What can I say? It's like a super fast-paced book as well. It's a page turner. But that's it. Those are all the books that I read this month. Let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought of them. Like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Oh yeah, I also hit 800 subscribers, so thank you guys so much if you're here watching my videos. I just appreciate you guys so much. And I'm working on new reading vlogs, and I'll see you guys in the next monthly wrap up for February. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!